हाय एवरीवन। सो हम नेस्ट.js में लास्ट वीडियो में हमने बात किया कंट्रोलर एंड सर्विस एंड वी वर एबल टू बिल्ड द APIs. So in the next video we will talk about, let's say, in service we can have a simple task array, like how we can manage an in-memory database or simply get, put, post, delete a CRUD operation perform करते हैं. So we will build the CRUD APIs and we should be able to hit get, put, post onto just a simple array. So that will give us the understanding like how we can create the REST APIs same as we were doing in the Express, right? And how we are just playing with the data. अगर आप सिंपल एरे के साथ प्ले कर सकते हो देन यू कैन ऑल्सो इट्स ईजी फॉर यू टू प्ले विद द डेटाबेस. अब उसकी जगह आप इक्वलाइज इन मेमोरी डेटाबेस यूज करो, टाइप ORM यूज करो, प्रिज्मा यूज करो. इट्स ऑल सेम थिंग, जस्ट लाइक changing the state of the data, inserting new record, updating, deleting. That's the target. And we will also understand the other concepts of service dependency injection and all. तो मेरा ओवरऑल आइडिया है, पहले हम फंडामेंटल्स कवर करते हैं, सिंपली लेट्स से कंट्रोलर, सर्विसेज, मिडलवेयर एंड ऑल. उसके बाद हम ऑथेंटिकेशन सर्विस बनाना स्टार्ट करेंगे. उससे वी विल गेट मोर क्लैरिटी, बिकॉज व्हेन वी बिल्ड द रियल वर्ल्ड एप्लीकेशन हमको आइडिया होता है ऑथेंटिकेशन, ऑथ गार्ड, इंटरसेप्टर्स कैसे यूज़ करने. बट इनके बारे में पहले हमको जस्ट पहले समझना पड़ेगा हाउ दीज ऑल थिंग्स वी आर प्लेइंग टुगेदर. ये हमारा एक्चुअली चार्ट है जिसको हम फॉलो कर रहे हैं. आई मीन वी शुड नॉट deviate from this. This is very easy. I think now you understood NestJS Express side by side, IOC, how the dependency injection works, TypeScript, right? NestJS integrations, why we are doing NestJS, what are the pros and cons of with our Express. Node.js yarn, I mean you can just with the Node.js मैंने नहीं बताया सेटअप करना, but these days each and every JavaScript developer has a NVM and Node.js. नेस्ट CLI से हमने बेसिक सेटअप किया हुआ है. एंड देन एक्सटेंशंस वगैरह तो आई थिंक सिंपल टाइप स्क्रिप्ट, आई विल टेल यू व्हाट ऑल यू कैन यूज़ एंड क्रिएट अ प्रोजेक्ट यूजिंग नेस्ट CLI. नेस्ट CLI का एक वीडियो बनाऊंगा मैं आई थिंक आफ्टर दिस, बिकॉज नेस्ट CLI इज़ रियली पावरफुल. इससे आप बहुत कुछ कर सकते हो. यू कैन क्रिएट अ कंट्रोलर्स, द होल मॉड्यूल ऑटोमेटिकली, मिडलवेयर, इंटरसेप्टर, जो भी बिल्डिंग ब्लॉक है NestJS के, यू कैन क्रिएट दैम जस्ट बाई CLI. Now this is what I'm talking about. In the last video we talk about these four things: task, module, controller and service. Now we'll introduce a task model. That's nothing but a task in-memory database, and we will just play with these things. We'll just hit the APIs, the request goes to the controller, to the service will update a data model and we will get the response back. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so regarding the code, we can do one more thing. I mean, you might be following this code repository. We should keep creating the branches. How that will help is, let's say git branch, checkout -b to create a new branch, and I will manage the whole code in those branches like baseline. Okay, so I will push this branch, git push origin baseline. Okay. Happened remote -v, no remote has been set. Change, I should have already shared the code, but no worries. We'll just initialize this repository and I will create a remote repository on the GitHub and we'll push this branch. Here I see branch is already, I mean the repository is already there. This is the repository. I will check, maybe I'm just accessing a different directory. This is the repository. So what we will do is you can access a multiple branch. इससे फ़ायदा क्या होगा, जैसे आज हमने डिस्कस किया कुछ पर्टिकुलर टॉपिक, आई विल पुश दैट ब्रांच. यू डोंट नीड टू जस्ट गेट एक्सेस टू द डेवलप ब्रांच. डेवलप ब्रांच पे हमेशा लेटेस्ट कोड होगा, तो यू कैन जस्ट गो टू द पर्टिकुलर ब्रांच एंड यू कैन चेक आउट एंड वर्क ऑन दैट ब्रांच. ओके, so you will have the module wise branch and the code segregated into multiple branches. Oh sorry, my bad. Here I mean I was in the outside folder, so I need to first go here and get remote -v. We already have this repository, right? So मुझे push करना है git push origin branch name. मुझे यहाँ पे git checkout -b, I need to create a new branch. Let's say init baseline. ये branch है मेरी, then I can just push this git push origin init baseline. अब ये हमारा बेसिक बेस कोड है. अगर किसी को बेसलाइन यूज़ करना है देन ही कैन यूज़ इट because on top of this, now we are going to build our repository and code. And here you can see 3 branches. ये base branch है हमारी. अब इस पे हम will keep creating multiple branches. I will just go to git checkout, develop, and we'll create, oh, there are some code changes. So what I will do, it's better I should add these commits and then clean up, keep my code clean. User module I have added, right? And it is running all the prettier and all these things. New module added, git push reason develop. Okay, I actually need to check out to that branch. Let me see if we are able to freeze everything correctly. Okay, now I can, this is on develop branch. I did all the commits and I will push this branch. Then I can check out to this particular branch. Git checkout init baseline, right? And I can merge develop branch into it. And I can push this branch. So ये हमारा baseline है. I mean, I could have created a new branch, but that is fine. Now I will go to develop branch. ठीक है, यहाँ पे हम नया ब्रांच बनाएंगे. दैट ब्रांच नेम इज फीचर टास्क मॉड्यूल. अब जो भी टास्क मॉड्यूल में टास्क कंट्रोलर मॉडल सर्विसेज है वो इस पे बात करेंगे. एंड आई कैन जस्ट पुश दिस ब्रांच ऑल्सो so you guys can follow. That's it. Okay, that's all some GitHub stuff. And you can see here I got all these couple of branches, task module, init baseline. ठीक है, तो नेक्स्ट हम क्या करने वाले हैं, लेट्स गो टू आवर डोमेन एंड दिस इज द टास्क मॉड्यूल, राइट? दिस इज द टास्क सर्विस मॉड्यूल, this is service, right? Here I'm going to create a task model. Task model.ts. In future we will have entities, type ORM repositories and all. Task module is nothing but a simple in-memory database, in-memory task array, and we will just play with this service method. Here we will define a get, put, post, delete, like create task, update task, delete task, list all task, all these operations. So let's build the REST APIs here. So what we are going to do, we are going to create a task interface. I mean, we are going to create a task, update task, delete task, and task interface will contain name, description, and ID. Okay, and then REST, we will be creating APIs like create task. Okay, add this new object inside a task, update task, delete task, and this is just like I will initialize task with these empty objects. Let's say, I mean, these are like to-dos task, right? So name, description, and IDs, you can just add incremented IDs, name, description, ID. So this task array we are going to initialize to, it's like a store. So this is the initial copy of the task we have. Now you can keep updating, deleting. Instead of database table, we just have this kind of a simple array, right? And we are going to use this thing inside our service. So we have task service. Inside task service, we are going to define all these different methods. And what those different are: create task, update task, delete task. So here, let's say we are going to initialize the task read only of tasks array, and we can import the tasks. So this is what we have is a task list. Let's rename it to the task list. This is what we are initialized with. This is like in-memory array of objects. Now this is also of task array. Right now inside the service, you can just add your methods. And what are the methods we are going to have? Create, and these are not going to use, we are not using async methods and all, because we are just playing with a simple JavaScript array. So it's just like a simple synchronous functions we are going to write: create, find all, delete task, update task. So controller will be calling this service. So find all, that means this dot task, like whatever the task inside an array, just return all of them. Delete task by ID. So here, and the update task, I mean update task, you will be passing ID and the payload. Okay, which task you want to update? task ID, and the payload, what is the name and description you want to update with. Delete task, here we can reassign that this dot task with the task. You just need to filter. Okay, just remove the ID which is equal to the ID which is being passed and give me all those tasks again. So this is simple. Delete. Here I cannot reassign, so let's make it non read only. That means it can be updated. And update task, simple. Here first we'll try to find the task using array.find, this dot tasks dot find, and here we can pass the id, i.id equal to the id which is passed. If the task is not there, then we can also throw these custom errors like okay, throw new not found exception. Now this is important, how NestJS throws these exceptions. So NestJS has a built-in exceptions like not found exception, unauthorized exception, internal server exception. You don't need to handle these errors using some middleware like in Express, because they will be thrown to the user, to the who is calling this API. So it will just throw this 404. And now if we have the task, then we can just do a map and update that particular object with the task name and description if we got the match of the ID. So if we got the ID, then I will just update that particular task using spread operator current task and this updated payload. Okay, and return I for the rest of the tasks. So this is simple operation, and if we are updating, so what we can return here, task.id. I mean, in update you can either return updated task or updated task ID. In delete you don't need to return anything. I mean, I return null, that whatever you are deleting, delete is done, and now I'm returning null. So this is create, find all, update, delete. Now inside controller we need to define all these methods. Methods means now the controller is important. How we write all these APIs. I mean, at the rate get is simple, but what about those APIs which are taking body, request body? What are those APIs which are taking query parameter, path parameter? So in NestJS, it deals with these things a little differently. Very easy to understand. Like here, I'm just doing at the rate post. That is for create, and in create task, I need to pass something in the body that I need to take care, right? So there is a body annotation I need to use, and we will talk about this in the maybe in the third video, what are these DTOs. But for now I'm saying is I'm just going to get the body through this API that will be represented by this create task DTO. Now what the create task DTO? In NestJS you can create DTOs. So here I'm just creating a DTO class. DTO class will used further for the validation of input. We will be using class validator with these DTOs that will say okay, name should be of string, description should be of string, or maybe type should be of enum, maybe some boolean flag is of type boolean. All these validations will be doing inside this class. For now it's just like a simple acting as an interface class where we have these different properties, name, type. API property we will get from while we will discuss with the Swagger. For now, just okay, there are three properties you can pass in the body: name, description, and ID is optional, because ID I will auto increment. So inside this controller, create task DTO, and here inside task ID should be optional, because ID we are going to identify ourselves. So before pushing, we can just get the task length. Okay, what is the total task length? And then while you are adding a new task, what we can do is task and simply ID is equal to tasks.length. This dot tasks.length, right? This dot tasks.length and +1. Let's say this is how I am auto incrementing the IDs. So this is create task. So this is how I will be able to pass the body, name and description. ID is optional, of type number. So this is create task and list all tasks. Similarly, we can have update and delete. Now for put, for update, there is a put annotation. These are coming from the NestJS common. Here I have to pass a query parameter. So in the put, there are two things we need to do. We need to also pass the query parameter, and then we also need to pass the payload. I mean the task which you want to update with the name and description. So here, this is the update task, and I'm passing two things inside this function, controller function, because there are three things how you pass the data to the APIs: through the body, request body, HTTP post, query parameter, HTTP get. Here you can just use @ name equal to this and password. REST APIs, right? These are REST APIs. Path parameter. let's say you wanted to access a particular user API, even user, and then user ID, that is path parameter. Headers, if you want to just send some authorization information, then you can use headers. So here I will be using @param because we are passing the data as a query parameter. If you are passing some data as a query parameter, then you will be using query. Here we are passing ID as a path parameter. Okay, so I will be using path parameter here, param ID number. So here you need to pass ID and payload. This is the update task, and then we have a delete task. In delete we are just passing the ID, right? So here it is delete, we are passing ID, and it's the task. We don't need a body, we will be just passing the param, and it's just replace the method. This is the CRUD operation we are talking, right? I mean, the objective of this particular example is to showcase how we are connecting controller and service, and how to define the routes, get, put, post, delete, how to define the request body, how to specify the path parameter, query parameter, all those things. These are the custom things which you can define. Okay, this controller route can return these particular status code. Okay, 200 created, 201. This put okay 200 status code, and deleted no content, because this is what you return when you delete a particular record. Npm run start, and I see this CRUD operation: task, create, list, update, delete. And now it's all about playing with this some Postman client. I can just see the list of all the tasks. Well, you can use any kind of a client which you like. I use Thunder client, REST client, or any VS Code plugin which you can find right away. Or just you can just use a Postman, Insomnia, all these set of tools. This is not that UI friendly. Maybe I can just see this Thunder client. Okay, Thunder client, here I'm creating the task using post. It is created. Now I can just get the list of tasks. So the task is added in the bottom, right? It's a post. And here you can also do the delete. So 204 no content. So we need to fix this thing, because whenever you are passing the ID, this is not treated as a number. It's being passed as a string. So what we need to do? We need to make sure that we are converting the type before we are listing the we are fetching the information. So here in the controller you can pass that as a number. So here I can see delete, update list of all the tasks, update a particular task, delete a particular task by ID. All these things are basic REST APIs which we have done. So this is all about how we write the APIs and how the NestJS router works. So we created a controller, services, and a simple model.